Eleanor Rigby, you know the song, but you've been missing the lesson hidden inside it, the one that unlocks triads all across the fretboard. This is the single best song for learning triads. Not might be, not one of the best. Let me prove it. Hey everyone, I'm AJ Hansen with Level Up Your Guitar, where I teach cool songs organized into level-based playlists that make you better fast. If you're new here, hit subscribe. I drop fresh lessons every week. Sheet music is in the description, transcribed by yours truly. When you want private lessons, scan the QR code or check the link below. Now, quick note before we dive in. I actually did a beginner version of this exact song almost 6 years ago to the date. That lesson covers the simplest possible way to play Eleanor Rigby. One finger at a time, open strings, great for absolute beginners. If that's where you're at right now, the link is in the description and I'd start there first. But if you're past that stage and you're ready to take Eleanor Rigby to the next level, if you want to understand how triads work, how to move them up and down the neck, and what voice leading actually feels like under your fingers, then you're exactly in the right place. I would recommend you are solid with your bar chords. It's not required, but it will help you out at the end of this video when I tie this up with a big ribbon.
Right here! With a big ribbon on his head.
So quick recap, here's why this song is the single best vehicle for learning triads on the guitar. First is the rhythm. It's dead simple. Listen to the original recording. The string section is playing staccato quarter notes, staccato meaning short and detached, like you're tapping your finger on the table. Let me demonstrate on guitar. Why does this matter? Because when you're learning something new, you don't want to be fighting on two fronts at once. Eleanor Rigby removes that problem entirely. The rhythm locks in almost immediately, which frees up your brain to focus 100% on the shapes, the positions, and the concept you're actually trying to learn. Second, the entire song is essentially just two chords, C major and E minor. That means you're working with two of the most fundamental triad qualities in all of music, major and minor. No diminished, no augmented, not even sus whatever number. Just the bread and butter. The exception is the first two measures of the chorus, E minor 7 and E minor 6. These are extensions of the E minor triad. And since we're getting our footing with triads, the good news is that you can substitute just a plain old E minor chord in both measures and it'll work for playing through the songs with your new triads. All right, let's get into the actual shapes. We're gonna work with the three treble strings, E, B, and G. And these are the most common set of strings for triads, and once you get these down, you'll be able to follow the rest of the shapes on the other strings provided in the free sheet music download. So let's start with C major. The notes in a C major chord are C, E, and G. That would be your root, third, and your fifth. And they're arranged three different ways depending on which note is on the bottom. So we won't be starting with root position, C, E, G. We're gonna start in second inversion, so we can start at the lower end of the neck. So the G string will be open, index finger on the B string first fret, and then the E string is open. So we've got G, C, and E. The next shape will be C major, ring finger on the G string 5th fret, pinky underneath that on the B string 5th fret, and then index on the E string 3rd fret. And then first inversion, our middle finger will be on the G string 9th fret, and then the index finger will be barred across the B and E strings in the 8th fret. So those are your three triad inversions. Second inversion, root position, and first inversion. And if you want to get extra credit points, you can take that second inversion way down here and move it up an octave, just add 12 frets. So you'd have open, 1, open, you'd have 12, 13, 12. And you'll see that on the last page of the packet. So take a moment, if you need to pause the video, that's fine. Run through those triads. And just get used to them. If you want to just do two at a time or different groups of two at a time, that's fine. You want to blitz through all of them. This is probably the most common way to start practicing the different positions. Next, we'll go through the E minor triads. So the notes in E minor are E, G, and B. Notice that E and G are still in the chord. We'll talk about that in a second. So for E minor, we're going to start in first inversion, and this one's nice and simple because it's all open strings. So the G, B, and E strings are all open. From there, we'll have our second inversion, so middle finger on the G string 4th fret, ring finger on the B string 5th fret, and then index finger on the E string 3rd fret. Then root position, the ring finger will be on the G string 9th fret, middle finger on the B string 8th fret, and then index finger on the E string 7th fret. And the extra credit, move the bottom one up an octave. You can just bar your index finger across the G, B, and E in the 12th fret. So running through each of those. So an extra reason why I think this is a great song for learning your triads is we've got C major and E minor. And we've got the notes C, E, G for C major and E, G, B for E minor. Well, if you overlap what's the same, you've got C, E, and G. So E and G are both chords and then a B over here. So there's only a one note difference. You either have the note C for C major or the note B in E minor. And if you know your intervals even just a little bit, the notes B and C are a half step away or just 1 fret away. So we have C major and E minors in the open position, in 3rd position, 7th, 8th position, and then up in the 12th position. Pair those up and you'll notice that it's just a 1 finger difference. So we've got C major to E minor. Doesn't get much easier than that. We've got C major to E minor. And then we've got C major to E minor. And then C major to E minor. Now that we've established the 1 note, 1 fret difference between the two shapes, you should know that that is called, get ready for an academic term, voice leading. So voice leading is the way individual notes or voices move from one chord to the next. Think of it like a good conversation. It flows naturally from idea to idea. Chords work the same way. When 2 notes stay put and only one moves by a half step or a step, the progression feels smooth, connected, and inevitable. That's what happens every time you go from C major to E minor in this song. Let me demonstrate with each C and E minor pairs. So that would be the first way I would tell you to start playing through Eleanor Rigby, is just keep your voice leading smooth. So always group up, find the charts on the page or the final page where it has it more tabbed out, depending on what you prefer to read. I would say get used to both, but always match up the smoothest voice leading. So I'll demonstrate the other groupings. So you'll want to go through each pair like that. And the more comfortable you get, you'll be able to do wackier jumps, which leads me into the next step you can take with Eleanor Rigby. And this is where you can, if you're a creative person, you're comfortable with improvising a bit, you can start making up stuff. But if you need a system, you're not comfortable with improvising or just making stuff up on the fly, here's a system that I think sounds pretty good, and it still gives you plenty of time with each shape, but you get a little bit more movement. So you would start at the intro of the song where you've got 2 measures of C, 2 measures of E minor, and it repeats. So we can start down here with our C major and play that for 4 beats. And then go up to the second position here, play that 4 times. Then you've got 2 measures of E minor, so you want to use the smooth voice leading to play your next closest E minor chord. Then after 4 beats of that, then you can go back down to the open position. So you're starting low with C major, then you go up to C major, stay nearby for E minor, and then go back down. So it would sound like this. So it sounds like it actually has some movement and a little more musical than just staying in one position the entire time. So after that repeat, you can go to this C major, our root position 1, start here, go to the next one higher, then the closest E minor, and then back down to this position for that E minor. So that would sound something like this. Then continue on, so now your starting C major would be here, go to this one, then pivot to the closest E minor, and then back down. So you can see by doing it that way, we're not leaving any gaps or we're not sitting in one position for too long, but it's not going by so fast that it's overwhelming. And that's one of the things with triads. Like if you've already done your bar chords, you've probably done 80% of the most physically demanding things that you'll play on guitar. And with triads, they're not physically demanding, but it's more of a mental game. It's like, oh man, there's so many positions. Open position chords, you get 1 version of it. Power chords, you get 2 versions. Bar chords, you might get 2 or up to 5 if you use the cage system. But then once you hit triads, we've got like 16 inversions here. So it boom, goes up like how many you have to know. So you don't want to get overwhelmed. So let me play that all the way through so you can get a sense of what that would sound like. And then once you're good at it, you can apply it to each strings 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, 6. And then finally, the big secret sauce triad trick that I want to show you, especially if you know your bar chords, is stacking your triads vertically in the same position to realize that you've been playing these all along. Let me show you. So on the last page of the packet, I'll pop it up on the screen here. We're going to take each of these triads in the open position area, 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 1, 3, 2, 0, and 3, 3, 2. If you stack all of those together, you've got a C major chord. Now, if you're a beginner, you may not have seen this 4-finger C major chord, or maybe if you play a bit of country, you might see this one. But if we just ignore the low E string, we've really got just our standard open position C chord. And if you have that C chord, you can just hit 3 adjacent strings, and you get a triad for free. Or if we move up to the next one, if you're using the cage method, this is the A-shaped C major chord. Well, we've got 2 triads hidden in there. Here and here. Now you can see in the sheet music there, the bass note on the A string, I have a parentheses around it. Those 3 low strings do not equal a triad. That is a power chord. So that is where this system does break down a little bit, because you'd have a root, 5th, and a root again, instead of a root, 3rd, 5th in some particular order, depending on the inversion. So any place you see the parentheses, that's where, okay, if you start from there, that's going to be a power chord. So we've got our C major bar chord, and we've got 2 triads hidden within there. If you've got your G shape bar chord, which is not played too often. I've played it in a few classical pieces, but you don't see this very often, but it's good to know. We've got 3 triads in there. Or if you hold it all down. So, and we're just ignoring the high E string. And then if we take our E shape bar chord that you've hopefully played a million times already, we've got 3 triads hidden in here. And then the power chord at the bottom, so that one doesn't count. So that is the big secret, is your triads. It's like, oh my gosh, there's 16 of them. You probably know half of them already just from playing bar chords. And that's a super important thing. I remember in college, I was like, man, how am I going to memorize all these things? And then one day I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I already know most of these.
You're a wizard, Harry.
From my bar chords. So that's why I said at the beginning, you should know your bar chords, but it's not required. And that's generally how I teach triads. I don't force them too early. Again, I go through 2 finger chords that you'll see in my level 3 playlist. And then level 4 has the regular cowboy chords, open position. Level 5 is power chords. Level 6 is bar chords. And then here I would say level 7 is when you can start introducing triads, because you've stacked up all this knowledge, and that's how you level up through all these different chords, and it makes triads mentally and physically a little bit easier. And there you have it, learning major and minor triads all over the neck with the help of the Beatles. If this helped you level up, hit the like button and subscribe for more songs with practical techniques that make you better fast. Sheet music is in the description, transcribed by yours truly. When you want personalized guidance, check out the private lesson link below. And if you want to see your triads hidden inside more bar chords, check out the playlist here. Keep playing, and I'll see you in the next lesson.
It's a 1-year membership in the Jelly of the Month Club.
Oh, God.
Clark, that's the gift that keeps on giving the whole year.